Live from our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Louise Hubar begins now.
Good evening. The dust has settled following Dark Mofo's announcement to take a break next year, with local businesses left wondering what it will mean for them. For many, the planning starts now to ensure they aren't left in the dark during the industry's toughest season.
With no Dark Mofo next winter, it's a race against time for local traders.
The quietest time, especially in Tasmania. So during that time, Dark Mofo does help, especially the tourism industry for accommodation, restaurants.
As organisers prepare to press pause on most of next year's festivities, local accommodation and hospitality traders are now planning how to survive the winter.
Obviously, we won't be as busy during that period, but culturally, I think it's great for Dark Mofo to be evolving.
The year off bringing mixed emotions and hopes strong visitor numbers continue.
I still think lots of people are going to come and experience Hobart in a different way.
Tourist draw cards like the Salamanca markets, one of many set to experience uncertainty. But the industry maintains it's a chance for others to step up.
The same thing happened during COVID or during any of the downturns that we've had. Innovation comes to the fore, so I fully expect that there's going to be people chomping at the bit to look at this opportunity and see what they can do during this period.
The summer months now even more crucial for a much needed tourism injection, with events like the Taste of Summer and Sydney to Hobart yacht race now playing an increasingly vital role.
We do have groups and everything coming in on January, February and everything, but not into Dark Mofo time.
Organisers maintain the break will ensure a return stronger than ever in 2025. In true Tassie style.
We do things at a small scale, boutique, authentic Tasmanians.
Ruby Cairns, 7 Tasmanian News.
Meanwhile, money is available to tourism operators to help protect Tasmania's clean, green branding. Businesses who have completed a carbon or emissions audit can claim up to $100,000 for projects as part of the Tourism Emissions Reduction Grant Program. Applications are now open and more information is on the Business Tasmania website. There's uncertainty of the future of the Housing Connect service, with current manager Colony 47 pulling out of a tender process to run a new model. Housing Connect is the state's entry point for those in housing need and connects them with homelessness services and social housing.
The reality is concerns have been being raised about this closed tender process right from the beginning. The government's chosen to ignore all of those concerns.
The reforms that they've been undertaking have been taking into account the views of not only service providers currently involved in that work, but also those with lived experience of using those services as well.
It's understood their concerns included funding arrangements and workloads. A program enticing allied health graduates to work in Tasmania has begun, with the first recipients signing on in the northwest this week. The government hopes the program will attract more interstate graduates, bolstering a health system under immense pressure.
For Caitlin Chong, it was a no-brainer to start her career here in Tasmania.
I came across the scholarship program when I was doing my clinical placements here at the start of the year. I found myself quite intrigued by the money, I'm not going to lie.
She's the first recipient of the $1.2 million Allied Health Scholarship Program, relocating from Victoria to be a radiation therapist at the Northwest Regional Hospital in Burnie.
Really love the surroundings here, and the people are very nice and supportive, very friendly, and I just enjoyed my time here.
The recipient receives $25,000 towards their study fees, $15,000 paid up front and $10,000 following the completion of 3 years service, aiming to encourage more graduates to consider Tasmania as a career launching pad.
It's top priority to provide the best care possible for Tasmanians and to have those allied health care services.
In addition to Caitlin's position, allied health professionals covered by the scholarship also include dental therapists, speech pathologists and psychologists.
This is funding 45 scholarships across the 10 professions for our state.
With the hope some might be convinced to stay longer.
I would like to be here or back in Melbourne, somewhere there, close to family.
Mark Zita, 7 Tasmanian News.
After spending 5 years in the role, the Chief of Tasmania's peak construction lobby is departing. Matthew Pollock will leave his post at Master Builders Tasmania in December, set to head up Master Builders Western Australia. Mr Pollock says it's an opportunity to repeat the success of the Tasmanian organisation and that the sector is in a strong position despite recent interest rate rises. $15 million is being pumped into the construction of a new waste facility next to the pine bark processing site at Boyer. It's set to expand the site's capacity by more than 100,000 tonnes and reduce the amount of organic waste sent to landfill by a quarter by 2025 and make it easier to process organics more efficiently. Works on a new northern school are well underway, with construction on track to be completed by October next year. The framing for the main learning areas at Lagana Primary School are largely completed as the project ramps up ahead of welcoming students through the gates in 2025.
Now that there are buildings living out the promise of what we've been talking with the community about, and everyone who drives past on this highway who's been waiting for a new primary school for this fastest growing area of Tasmania.
Bang on program, which is really good. Had a bit of fun with the rain that we've had, but our site manager and team have been able to work around that.
The community is now being invited to have its say on the school's logo and uniform. Some of the country's best Broadway stars will be heading back to Tasmania. The Australian Musical Theatre Festival will put Launceston up in lights for another 3 winters, with the event locked in until 2026. The state government singing the program's praises, committing $640,000 over the next few years. Organisers are already planning future festivals, with plans to fly in an international superstar. Back home, and the government insists it's doing enough to fund grassroots sport despite claims from the opposition. Labor and soccer stakeholders today called for further investment, particularly women's facilities, saying the quantity and quality of infrastructure isn't good enough.
We're very limited, sadly. We only have 2 change rooms, which is a real issue, particularly at training and on match day.
What's not keeping up with the enthusiasm and the interest in soccer is the facilities.
The government has its $5 million Active Tasmania funding program currently open for infrastructure projects. A $10 million commitment is also delivering new facilities at Kingborough, Launceston and Devonport. Some of the state's best wheelchair footy stars are putting their skills to the test as they prepare to take on Australia's best. Players are heading into the final training sessions vying for national championship selection.
Putting a twist on Aussie rules.
Basically, a handball becomes a kick, an underarm pass becomes a handball, and you have to handball more than 3 metres for it to be a mark.
Adapting the game and taking the passion to the court, players being put through their paces, staring down state team selection ahead of the wheelchair AFL National Championships in November.
Today's probably about bringing those together as a team and get that continuity to work, see how we do and try to get some of the kinks out.
Team Tassie eyeing off gold, hoping to improve on its historic performance last year.
We've got a medal at every national champ so far, so looking to continue that and hopefully get the gold one.
Interest in wheelchair Aussie rules is growing, with new players joining the squad this year.
That's been really good to see, and hopefully we get to that stage where everyone's, I guess, fighting for selection.
It's going to be hard because everyone's getting better. There is a lot of smashes and grabs, and it's very competitive.
The squad will meet for one last all-in training session before the final list is published. Victoria Easto, 7 Tasmania News.
The curtain has closed on a popular festival in the north for another year. Junction wrapping up today after a jam-packed schedule, seeing the event extend to 5 days for the first time. It's a move organisers are hailing, deeming this year's program its most successful yet.
Weather was fantastic. We've had the biggest numbers that we've ever had through the gate, and even 90% of our tickets were sold even before any door sales. So we are absolutely thrilled.
The Princess Square crowd enjoying the chilled out Sunday recovery session to round out the event. After 5 days of tackling 500 kilometres through Tasmania's Central Highlands, the final leg of the Pedal for Parkinsons cycling tour finished up in Sandy Bay this afternoon. The ride raising awareness and funds for the debilitating disease.
So just before we pulled in today, we just ticked over $16,000, so an unbelievable year.
It was a wonderful feeling to roll in here, knowing that that we could do it, and to finish it. And it feels like a year ago that we started, but yeah, it's been a wonderful ride.
Donations can still be made via the Pedal for Parkinsons website. To the AFLW and Melbourne's unbeaten run on Tassie soil has been broken thanks to the Brisbane Lions. Eager fans filling Utah's stadium for Launceston's only AFLW game of the season.
Excited. Roos haven't lost in Tassie yet, so hoping that we can keep that going.
We've been doing pretty good lately, so I do expect them to win, yeah. But Brisbane, they're all right.
The Roos falling in a thriller, the Lions down by 18 points at the main break before kicking 4 goals to 1 in the final half. North Melbourne captain Emma Carney had an opportunity to save the game on the siren but fell short. The Lions snatching a 2-point victory. Yesterday's maiden TSL premiership is a credit to the club's culture and stability, according to coach Trent Bummeler. Players celebrated at the club today after the 15-point win over the Bombers.
Yeah, decompress a little bit, enjoy it. I'm sure, no doubt, we'll watch the game this afternoon together as a collective.
The coach says they'll reflect on the achievement before turning their attention to a premiership defence in the TSL's final season.
Good evening. Well, maximum temperatures were generally 2 to 4 degrees above average across the state today. A little warmer in the south, with temperatures rising 4 to 7 degrees above average. Today, Hobart 22 degrees, Launceston 17, Devonport 16, 15 was the top for Burnie. The state's top was recorded at Bushy Park with 23 degrees, Grove 21, King Island and Strawn both 20, Flinders Island 18, 17 in Smithton, St Helens, Friendly Beaches and Maria Island, Lyweenie just 12 degrees. Cloudy conditions are seen across the north of Tasmania, particularly in the northwest. Mostly clear conditions occurred over western, southern, eastern and central parts of the state. The satellite shows a frontal cloud band approaching Tasmania from the west, with that frontal band extending back to western South Australia. Low-level cloud lies along much of the Queensland coast and the southwest of WA. Tomorrow, a cold front will cross the state, with highs centred over the northern Tasman Sea and the Bight. North to northwesterly winds 15 to 25 knots, shifting south to southwesterly with 20 to 30 knots. West to southwesterly swells in the west and south building to 3 metres by evening. A strong wind warning has been issued for waters between east of Flinders Island to Low Rocky Point, to include Bank Strait and Franklin Sound. Tomorrow, Hobart and Ouse, a shower or 2 with 17 degrees, a shower or 2 also for Dover with 15. Launceston partly cloudy 22, mostly sunny in Devonport 19 to the top, also 19 in Scottsdale with partly cloudy conditions expected. Burnie mostly sunny 17, a shower or 2 and 15 in Strawn, 18 degrees with cloud clearing in Stanley. Partly cloudy in the east, St Helens 21, 19 in Swansea and 18 is the maximum temperature for Ross. Taking a look now to the 3-day forecast, Tuesday fine apart from isolated showers about the north, more likely about elevated ground. Wednesday those fine conditions continue apart from isolated showers about the west. Forecast much the same for Thursday with isolated showers about the west, although we can expect west to northwesterly winds. To capital cities tomorrow, partly cloudy, 21 in Melbourne, sunny in Canberra and Sydney, 34 and sunny in Darwin. And currently in Hobart, it's partly cloudy with 15 degrees, mostly clear with 13 in Launceston, also mostly clear in Devonport with 12, and that's all in weather this Sunday evening. Louise?
Lovely, thank you for that, Kaya. And that's all your news for this Sunday evening. Thank you so much for joining us. Kim will be back with you tomorrow. Enjoy your evening. Good night.